just when you thought it was safe to go onto iTunes. This is Next Level Guy, the only website that makes self-development as fun as going to the movies. It's time to take the red pill and escape the Matrix.
Thank you for listening to the Next Level Guys show. To help support the podcast and get 10% off from a number of affiliate deals, simply go to nextlevelguy.com/affiliates. There you'll find all the current affiliate deals that are linked to the podcast, as well as how to get your discount on some awesome products. And now, let's go to the interview. Hi everybody, time for another episode of the Next Level Guys show. Today's guest is Craig Ballantyne. Craig is a transformation coach from Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and he's the author of The Perfect Day Formula, How to Own the Day and Control Your Life. He's been contributing to Men's Health magazine since 2000, and in 2001 Craig created the popular home workout program Turbulence Training. On his journey to success, Craig's had to overcome crippling anxiety attacks, and he beat them with his 5 pillars of transformation. Today Craig shows men and women how to use the 5 pillars to lose 10 to 75 pounds, get a raise, make more money, find the love of their life, and overcome any obstacles in the ways of success. You can read his daily essays on things like success, productivity, and fitness at his website, which is earlytorise.com. For those people who don't know you, can you give a brief overview of who you are and what you think you're known for?
Yeah, so, I started in the fitness world way back in 1999, and that was my first email newsletter. Then I started writing for Men's Health in 2000, and then I started selling this program called Turbulence Training back in about 2001, and I did that for a decade, and then I bought a business called earlytorise.com, which helps people not only with health, but also their wealth and their personal life and wisdom and family life. And it had been around since 2000, and so it wasn't like I was starting that from scratch. And then I wrote a book in 2015 called The Perfect Day Formula, and that's what I focus on today.
Okay. Well, I've followed you on social media and Early to Rise now for ages. You're very inspiring, very motivating. You're one of the people I look up to. But was there a point in your life when you felt the need to change and go for your dreams, or have you always been like this?
I started out thinking I was going to be a strength and conditioning coach in the National Hockey League. So that's what I wanted to be when I was in high school. And then when I was in college, I remember one of my professors saying, the strength and conditioning coaches at Michigan State University make $100,000 a year. And I thought that was like, if I could ever reach that level, that'd be the greatest level and nothing further. But then I got this lucky break with Men's Health magazine, and I realized that I loved helping more of the busy guy. And so I started writing for him, and then I realized, writing for the busy guy, but also writing for Men's Health a lot. And then I realized that, this online business opportunity was available to go and sell your products to people in 100 plus different countries, and you didn't have to have a book deal. And it was just fantastic timing. I'm lucky I grew up with the internet, came of age with the internet, and so it's all kind of worked out for me. And every time I achieve something, I realize, hey, there's an opportunity here for me to do more, help more people, take my experiences and help more people. We do transformation contests, so that helps a lot of people. We have lots of people on our Facebook pages, and we are just out there helping people and making the complex into simple so that we're able to take people to the next level, just like you.
And I think you're doing a very good job of it.
Well, thank you.
The more I researched, the more inspiring and transformations I was finding. There was people who just ranted and raved about turbulence training, so you're doing a very good job of it.
Well, thank you very much. It really is my life's work, and I want to share it with as many people as possible.
Well, I'm hoping I can help you with that as well. Okay, we'll start with a very big question. In your opinion, what do you think makes a man? How can you be defined as a man in today's society?
Oh, man, I think you need to be a man of your word. I think you need to stand for something. Otherwise, as the cliche goes, you stand for nothing. It really is important for you to know yourself, as Shakespeare said, know thyself, and then, to thine own self be true. And that really is just, knowing what you want to achieve in life and then having the morals and ethics and integrity to stick with it and not to chase trends. I'm a big fan of, the 1950s and 60s and in the way that there was a separation of work and home life and you really took care of your family. And so those things are important to me. And what's really most important is that everyone identifies what is important to them and they focus on it and they don't get caught up in chasing shiny objects.
I mean, do you think that's one of the biggest challenges we're faced today is that materialism, you always want more and more, that you can't settle for what you have or be happy with what you have?
I think it is something like that. And so I've actually put together a little diagram on this, and I call it the number one source of friction in the first world. And it is, seeing somebody like, let's say I was thinking of, just starting an online business, and I see you with this podcast and all these great people on it. And even though I'm not very good at interviewing or I don't like to do it, I think that, hey, you're doing it and you're successful. Well, I better go and do it too. And then I go and see, some other guy doing YouTube videos, and I think, oh my goodness, well, I need to be doing YouTube videos. And you do all of these things that are not in your zone of genius because you see other people succeeding and you think the grass is greener on the other side, but you don't know all the hard work that they went through and, all the struggles and trials and tribulations that they're going through. And so you start chasing those shiny objects, and then that causes you to have a misalignment between your goals and your actions. So if you say that you want to go and, write a book, but now you're doing podcasts and YouTube videos, your actions are misaligned with your goals, and that causes a lot of friction mentally. And so now you're just kind of in this dazed and confused state. You're overwhelmed. You're anxious. You're thinking, oh, I got to go and do all these things. My book's not getting done. And if you just stopped doing the things that didn't matter and that really weren't important to you, you'd have more time for what is important to you, and then you get a lot closer to your goals. And the way that we overcome that, Ian, is we get outside eyes on the problem. You hire a mentor or a coach, or you sit there and think objectively about your life and your actions. And then you get that coach or mentor to set a higher bar for your activities and your standards, and you are forced to play up to that level with accountability. And when you have that in place, the outside eyes on your activities, giving you feedback and a higher level for your performance, that's when you start to really get in the groove and achieve what you should be achieving in life.
Yeah, I mean, I've played around with the, sort of process of accountability. Could you give an example of, like, an accountability practice that you've maybe done yourself?
Well, I think the one thing that people can do if you can't hire a coach is to, be a part of a Facebook group or, online forum where there's like-minded people there. And what you would do is you would share your big goals and dreams with all those people there. And you would say, hey, listen, I want to go and I want to stop smoking, or I want to lose 10 pounds, or I want to write a book in the next 10 weeks. And you say that, this is my real name, this is me, here I am, I need you guys to hold me accountable, and I want to go and do this. And so that's one way of getting accountability that's going to allow you to be more successful in life. So that's what, is really, really important and allows you to focus on what matters. And that is one of the keys to accountability. Now, if you can hire a coach or a mentor, by all means, you should get it. And then make sure that they never go soft on you. So you have to be drawing a hard line. You have to be saying, hey, listen, I know that you can do more. I know that you can play up a level. And so that's what you need to focus on there.
Yeah, I mean, I did that with my brother. I wrote him a check, and if I think it was 3 podcast episodes by the end of the year. When I first started, then he could cash it. And it was just the thought of him having my money motivated me to do it. And I know
That's exactly it, man. That's perfect. It's a great example. And then you went out and nailed that goal, right?
Oh, yeah. As well as accountability, if somebody was listening to this, reading your stuff, fully inspired, desperate to change their life, but didn't know where to start, do you have an analysis method that somebody can use to find, what the biggest, I don't like the word problem is, but what they should focus on?
Yeah, so I have this thing called a values pyramid, and if people go to facebook.com/Craig Ballantyne, they can go through the photos there and they'll find my values pyramid. And it talks about 4 areas of life. And like, what would you regret in 20 years from now having not achieved in your experiences, in your wealth building, in your health, and in your family? And you go through there and you identify that. And then you rank those, like what really matters the most out of these 4 things. And then that's your most important priority to focus on in life. That's what you're going to wake up on and go and take action on every morning. And that's what you're going to plan and prepare for until you get closer and achieve that goal. So it really comes down to identifying what matters the most in those 4 areas of life: health, wealth, social self, and personal enrichment, and figuring that out. And once you have that in place, then you can start dialing in your days to totally dominate and become successful and really get the things done that matter.
And is there something that you see a lot of? Is there sort of common problems that you see coming, or is it quite different depending on the person, their upbringing, etc.?
Well, it's definitely different depending on the person, but, I think there's definitely phases we go through in life. So someone who is around 50 years old has probably sacrificed their health to build their family and to build their wealth. And so they're probably going to be needing to focus on overcoming their pre-diabetic state and, eating better and getting an exercise habit. And then there's going to be people who are younger, about your age, who, they want to get married to their boyfriend or girlfriend, and they want to, have a great house, but it's going to require money. And so they're in a season of wealth building. And so, they need to be up like you every day hustling. I mean, from what I understand, you have a job, you do this on the side, and you are doing great work, and that's going to pay off. And then eventually you're going to move into a season of family where you're going to be raising young children. They're going to get your number one focus every day, but you're still going to be doing all the other good things. But it's figuring out that priority and then breaking it down into, okay, how do I fit this important work into the course of the day? And what do I need to say no to? Because a lot of people are just trying to do too much. They're trying to do too much in their morning routines. You see these silly articles about the 14 things you do before breakfast. Successful people don't do 14 things before breakfast. They do 1 or 2 important things, and then they have breakfast, and then they move on to the next most important thing.
Yeah, I mean, that is definitely something you see as these must-do rituals, these must-do things, and...
Oh, totally, you got it.
It's like, if you do that, you can't say hi to your wife, you can't spend time with your kids, you can't have a job. It's one of the things I initially found you through your bromance, if you want to call it that, with John Romanello.
Oh yes, a good man.
I admire him really greatly as well. And you've mentioned having a mentor and a coach and things like that. Who would you consider your role models in your life?
I would say my 3 best friends are Matt Smith, who's my business partner at Early to Rise, another good friend of mine, Joel Marion, who runs BioTrust, and then another business partner of mine, Bedros Keuilian, another great guy to have on your show, as we talked about before we got started with the official call here today. And these guys all, give me accountability. They make me play up a level. They give me outside eyes. They tell me when I'm doing the wrong things. They just give me hardcore advice, and every time I screw up, they look at me with this death stare. And it's one of the worst things in my life to disappoint these guys. I never want to disappoint them. And so they make me play up a level in life, which is a nice segue into your podcast name, Next Level. And so it's surrounding yourself with the right people in your life allows you to really achieve big things. So make sure that you surround yourself with the right people. That is the gold in life.
I love your stuff. Turbulence training, the fact that you can make cardio fun, shall we say.
Yeah.
Can you just go quickly over turbulence training? Why should my listeners check it out? How can it benefit them? Can it really make cardio fun? I'm skeptical.
Yeah, it's not really cardio, it's really exercise. And so I discovered it in 1999. It's basically, short burst interval training combined with superset resistance training exercises. And then it allows you to take, most people are trying to lose weight with an hour of weights and an hour of cardio, and they're in the gym forever, and they're getting no results because their intensity wasn't high enough. So I showed people how to increase their intensity, decrease the amount of time they spent in the gym to about 30 minutes, 3 to 4 times per week. And I actually just wrote a new book that I'd love to share with people. It's called The Great Cardio Myth. So it has all the research about why cardio doesn't help you lose weight, how it's not essential for you to live a long and healthy and happy life. And also, it's probably got a lot of side effects to it that most people don't want, such as too much cardio makes a lot of people eat more, and so they actually gain weight on a cardio program. And it also breaks down your knees and your back, and it really leads to a lot of injury over time if you do too much. So you don't have to go overboard with the exercise. You just have to do a certain amount at the right stimulation level, and that'll allow you to change your body. Because, quite frankly, nutrition is the most important thing if you want to live a long life or if you want to lose weight. And then exercise is just like a side dish.
Yeah, because, you see that, don't you, with a lot of women who want to lose weight. They spend an hour on the treadmill, poor intensity, they're not happy, and they never change their body shape.
Exactly. The only thing that changes, Ian, is that they've gone through, 3 different magazine subscriptions and wasted hours on their life watching television in the cardio theater area, and it's really sad.
It's like those people who drive to the gym to go walk on the treadmill. I've never understood that.
They take the escalator up to go walk on the treadmill.
So, while I was sort of looking into, I noticed that there really is some amazing transformations happening on, people who use your turbulence training. Do you have any favourite clients or transformations? Is there something that you've maybe had feedback from somebody about a life-changing experience?
Well, yeah, so we have a page called transformationcontest.com, and that goes over the 27 transformations that we've run so far. And for people that don't know what a transformation is, it means you take a before photo and then an after photo 12 weeks later, and then you write a little essay that says, here's what I achieved, here's how I changed mentally and physically during the contest. And it's really, really powerful. And, I'm a skeptical guy, Ian, but it often brings like a little tear to my eye, or maybe there's a piece of sand in my eye when I read them. It's just so powerful and so emotional. And so 2 that I'd love to share with you. The first one is from this guy named Todd Arnaldi. And Todd lives in this state of Wisconsin. So if you ever watched, I believe it's 4 Weddings and a Funeral, I believe that one of the characters moves from England over to Wisconsin. And so that's where he ends up, and it's a state that is all snow and football and sausages and a lot of people that struggle with their weight. And it's not a fitness type of place. It's definitely not California, put it that way. But this guy, he was pushing 400 pounds when he started the contest. And he ended up, he was weighing 400 pounds. And by the end of the contest, in just 12 weeks, he lost 75 pounds. And that is incredible. Now, he had 400 pounds on his body, so he's very, very overweight. He was obese. He was killing himself. But then he lost all that weight, and it was amazing. And now he's a certified turbulence trainer, and he's changing his life and doing all these great things, and he's training other people. And I believe he's down to like 250 pounds now in about a year. So it's incredible, and that one really sticks out. And then there's one for the women as well. This woman named Catherine Gordon won my second contest that I ever ran, and that was back in 2008. And she had a really embarrassing moment. So she was at the grocery store, and the guy said to her, "Do you qualify for the seniors discount?" But she was only 44 years old. So she was very embarrassed by on to enter my contest, and she looks amazing. She's been on television. She's been in major magazines for her transformation. And so that one really, really has had an impact. And she also became a certified turbulence trainer and has gone on to open her own training studio, write her own books, do all of these amazing things that was all started from turbulence training. So I'm very proud of those 2 people. But I'm just, super happy to get an email from somebody who says, "Hey, thanks, you saved me hours a week." Like, even when I hear that, that's amazing, and I love it.
That's amazing to lose like half your body weight almost,
Yeah. He's on his way, and he's just inspiring so many people.
I think that's something we really struggle with, is we've got such poor diets, we eat and we drink, and we think, we'll start again, we'll start tomorrow. And people don't seem to realise the sort of damage they do to themselves with the modern day lifestyles. If somebody came to you, said, "Yep, really interested, want to start, but I was fit and I've lost it, or I don't know how to do it. I've got a new job, or I'm busy with a relationship, etc. What do you have sort of go-to tips for people just to get off their arse, basically?
Yeah, so we like to start them on these 21-day habit changes. So I have a Facebook group. We have almost 2,000 members in it. It's a free Facebook group. It's called facebook.com/groups/perfect day challenge. And we just help people do 21 days at a time. Hey, I'm going to cut out soda for 21 days. I'm going to cut out, going to the pie shop for the next 21 days. And when they do that, they have to come up with alternatives that are healthier. And so they try out new things. And that's one of the keys to living a healthy life, is being willing to try out a few new things. And when you do that, you discover, hey, wait a minute, some of this stuff is actually pretty good. I like this. And I can get rid of the old bad habits. And then you start combining those into a transformation contest and using my 5 pillars of success, which are better planning and preparation than ever before, professional accountability, positive social support, a meaningful incentive, and the big deadline. And you can make amazing changes in 12 weeks in any area of your life. So it's not just about health and fitness, but if you wanted to make more money or even find the love of your life, you can use those 5 pillars to go and do that, because it's all just formulaic. And so that's what I show people how to do, and I love doing it. And that's when we see those amazing transformations from people all around the world.
You're inspiring me. It's the soda one that I would have to struggle with. You know, it's one of those.
That's a tough one for you?
Yeah, it's a real bad one that I've got a habit of. You know, it's that little sugar hit just to get to get the energy levels up.
Okay.
I mean, what kind of do you deal a lot with people who struggle with consistency, or is it more like their nutrition that's holding them back?
Oh, it's almost always nutrition. So, like for you, I would say, listen, you don't really need sugar. What you need is, you're probably looking for caffeine. I mean, because energy levels are just a level of alertness. I mean, you have plenty of sugar in your bloodstream. That's not the issue. Unless you're hungry, then you should go and eat a piece of fruit. But, soda's not really doing anything for you. But you can go and have a green tea, you can go and have a coffee, and that will give you the mental alertness that you need. And so it's just little tips like that you need to go and change with people. And then most people struggle with, planning and preparation. They go to work, they didn't pack a lunch, and then at lunchtime, they say, I'd love to eat healthy, but I have no idea what to do, so I'm just going to go to the pie shop again and get the wrong thing. And so that is something that people really, really struggle with. And so that's what we want to help them overcome. And it's a matter of education. Most people just have no idea what to do. And so that is what I show them how to overcome. And it's just, one step at a time, very small things. Let's not get too crazy. Let's not try and go cold turkey on everything, because that is rarely the answer. And so I just show them through education, here are really easy changes that you can make. Let's focus on this for 21 days. Let's combine a few of these bigger things into a 21-day challenge, and that is how you have amazing results.
I mean, that's why I really like your articles, etc. There's no fluff, there's no BS. It's just, here's what you need to change. This is what it's going to do. Here's how to analyze it. There's just that straightforwardness. You're not like one of these new age guru ones who claim 15 things to do in the morning. You must do this ritual. You must meditate for an hour. You just give straightforward, simple advice, and you change lives. And
that's exactly what I would want from a coach. So that's exactly what I love to give to people.
And do you find that there are supplements and foods that you recommend to people depending on their confidence, like if people are depressed, etc.? Is there like a list that you can recommend for good quality supplements, nutritions, and foods for people to try?
Well, I would say in that case, it's mostly the opposite. It's like, what can I get rid of? So, too much caffeine, too much sugar, it's going to increase the adrenaline in our body. It's going to lead to us being stressed out and anxious. I dealt with that years and years ago. Too much alcohol, too much caffeine. not enough sleep. And, when you get rid of those three issues and you improve your lifestyle and you do better planning and preparation, that's when you actually get healthy again. So it's really taking care of yourself like a Formula One car. Making sure that you have high octane fuel in there, making sure that it gets rest, making sure that it gets an overhaul and an audit once in a while. And so it really is treating yourself like a high performance machine, like a fighter jet or a race car, whatever you want to say as the analogy. But that's how you have to look at yourself, and you can't be throwing in cheap gas, that is the sugar that you put in there, because that's going to lead to bad news in the end. So I really want people to understand that they are high-performing machines, and that is how you have to look at yourself and take care of yourself.
Yeah, because there's that saying in there that, you wouldn't buy a Ferrari and put in the cheapest gas, so why fill your body with crap? It's... it always puzzles me that, people who go to the gym and then think it earns them the right to have a bag of donuts.
Yeah.
not the most logical sort of thing to do.
No, and it goes for your, it also goes for your mind as well. So, Alan Cosgrove, who is a famous Scotsman like you, he has a great saying about, plant good things in your mind. Every morning you should wake up and you should read good things, because you treat your mind like a garden, and making sure that you plant good things is exactly the quote. And I don't necessarily think it's his quote, but that's where I first heard it from. And it matters so much to make sure that you're only putting good thoughts into your mind and not the negativity that is out there today.
I mean, the mental strength is certainly something a lot of people struggle with. Do you still meditate? I read that you are a big fan of meditation. Is that something you still do as a ritual, or?
Yeah, I do it every day. So I tried in 2006 and I failed. And then I tried again in 2009 and I failed and I quit. And then finally in 2013 I said, I'm going to make this stick. And I started very easily with like a minute a day. And then I actually made it work. And so I haven't missed a day since January 31st, I believe, of 2013. I've had at least 5 minutes every day since, but it's closer to 20 minutes a day.
And what kind of benefits? I've tried Headspace, and that certainly benefited me. But for somebody that's skeptical on meditation, can you just give us a rough overview of how you think it helps? Do you feel calmer? Do you feel less stressed?
I would say it's helped me be more patient, because I'm a very impatient person. So it's allowed me to slow down. It's allowed me to think better. And, so sometimes I come up with some, really good ideas during meditation. I don't worry if there's no thoughts going through my head. I know that's supposed to be how you meditate, but I just sit there and focus on my breathing, which is most important, because I do meditation to help me reduce anxiety. So I just want to relax with the meditation and focus on big belly breaths and slow my heart rate down, reduce my blood pressure. And so it's really helped with all of those things, my health and my patience and my anxiety.
Yeah, that was something I wasn't sure if you wanted to get into, but you mentioned previously that you've suffered with crippling anxiety, and that it felt like a heart attack.
Yeah, really bad.
Can you give a...
I thought I was having a heart attack twice, and I went to the emergency room, and it was terrible. I was, I was probably a little bit older than you. I was about 30 years old when it was happening, and I was burning the candle at both ends, and I was working too much and partying too much, and then it caught up with me. And it felt like I was having a heart attack for 6 weeks straight. Tight chest, couldn't breathe, elevated heart rate, tingles from the top of my head down to the end of my fingertips. Man, it was terrible. It was really, really bad. I couldn't concentrate. And I went to the emergency room at the start of that and at the end of that. And then fortunately, I tried all of these things like meditation and yoga and Qigong, and learned how to breathe properly and used my 5 pillars of transformation. And finally, I was able to overcome it.
And I'm glad you did, because I've been very inspired from reading your stuff over the years. And when I was looking at some of the stuff from other people, it does come across as a bit BS, and you don't see them living the change that they are claiming. But with you see that truth in what you're writing. You know that what you're saying you've done, it's true.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I'm definitely glad you're better. And do you still have anxiety today? Do you struggle with that, or have you learned to deal with that in more therapeutic ways?
I probably had to fight it off once every couple months for the next 2 to 3 years, but now I don't have it at all. If it starts to come up a little bit, I just oh, okay, I see what's happening here. I'm just going to chill. But even if I tried to worry myself sick, I couldn't do it. So I can have caffeine again, no problem. And I just know, now that I know what it is, it's easier for me to understand. So back then, I wasn't even sure what it was. I really thought it was a heart attack, but it turned out to be the anxiety. And I actually bought this book from an Irishman named Barry McDonough, and his book was called Panic Away, and there was a lot of great information in there that helped me overcome it and understand what I was going through. But it also helped that I did go to a medical professional, and they said, hey, here's this heart rate monitor, and bring it back in 24 hours. And then I did, and they said, okay, we'll call you if there's anything wrong. And they gave me a chest x-ray, and nobody called me. There was nothing wrong with me. And once I knew that, I guess I'm a bit of a hypochondriac, so once I knew that, I was okay, and I thought, all right, nothing physically wrong with me. It's all kind of some mental health issues. I'm just going to keep on learning how to relax. And so now I really do have the system down.
No, it's definitely good to see, that you practice what you preach. So, apart from meditation, if somebody's having an issue with their mental strength, their inability to take on these new rituals, etc., how can somebody develop that mental strength, the ability to be consistently go to the gym, to try the new hobbies, etc.?
Well, you need to make the path smooth. So what that means is, if you're trying to take up a new habit like exercising in the morning or meditation, if there's any distraction in the way of taking up a new habit that's hard, you're going to succumb to that distraction. So if you get up in the morning and it's cold out and your bed is warm and your exercise clothes are still in your drawer, you're going to stay in bed. But, if you wear clean exercise clothes to bed, or if you at least set them beside your bed and you put them on right away and you swing your legs over the edge of the bed, well, you're pretty much halfway there. Then you just have to go and watch one of my YouTube videos and you can exercise, in your bedroom or in your living room. And, we've cut out all of the obstacles. It's not a hard path to be successful. And with meditation, I would just make sure that, I made a rule. I had to meditate before I walked my dog or ate breakfast in the morning. And I would just turn the lights off and relax. And, I would just focus on my breathing. And all I had to do was a couple of minutes. I didn't have to sit there for half an hour or do any chanting or anything. I just had to sit there and breathe slowly. And I made it really easy. And then once I started noticing the benefits, then I internalized the benefits, and I thought, oh, I need to do this because I like it and it's helpful. And then it became that habit for me.
So did this play into the development of the Perfect Day formula? Can you explain what that is, and just if you want to sort of shelve where to go if people are interested in this?
Yeah, absolutely. And it did. I mean, as soon as I had those anxiety attacks, I realized I needed to put more structure into my life. And so I started building more formulas to allow me to get more done during the day, but actually work less. And then I started coaching other people on it and really helped a lot of people with it. And then I wrote a book about it called The Perfect Day Formula. And your listeners, everybody listening, you can go to freeperfectdaybook.com and get a free copy. Just pay shipping and handling, and we'll send that to you, and you can get the benefits of my systems to really control your life and own your days.
That's an amazing offer. I'm going to go check that out as well. So,
yeah, man.
Where does your creativity come from? Every time I'm seeing something, you've got amazing quotes that inspire me. It's like you're reading people's minds. you're developing this, you're transforming lives for your products, etc. Where do you think it comes from? Have you always been quite creative, or how do you deal with writer's block and things like that?
Oh, I've got so many ideas. I don't have enough time for all the ideas that I have. So, I've actually got so many things that are half done and not finished. But, I'm definitely an idea machine. I spend a lot of time, the meditation does help, but I've always been a creative person, and I'm always reading and getting ideas from others. And so I guess I just am also an opinionated person with lots to say. And so, but I also, test. I'll say something on Twitter, and if it works there, then I'll take it to Facebook, see what kind of response we get there, and then if it gets a good response there, then I'll turn it into an article. So I'm like a comedian who goes and plays a small comedy club in New York. I try out my jokes and they're not jokes, but they're comments in a smaller audience, and then whatever gets a good reaction, I take that and refine it into something bigger and better. Whether it's a YouTube video or a Facebook post. So that's how I do my stuff, but I have so many ideas, Ian, that I could, be working 24 hours a day and just cranking this stuff out. So, it's like, I guess you would say the same thing to Stephen King. How do you get all these crazy ideas? And I don't know how he does it, how his mind works, but I think it's just making sure that you have all of these, resources and assets in place. So you're always getting ideas from books and podcasts and movies and quotes and all the good stuff. And if you're consuming a lot of information, you'll have a lot of your own opinions to put out there.
No, it's something that I've struggled with previously, was the inability to take action. I could have the ideas, but I always struggled with just getting going. I always had some reason I couldn't do it, some reason I would do it tomorrow. Is there... is there something that you could recommend to somebody just to get them going? Why is there something that really holds us back? Is it the fear of the unknown? Is it taking a chance, standing up against, potentially be shot down by other people?
I think it is intimidation of not knowing what to do. And I've read a recent study from the UK that people who wanted to change their career, and the number one stumbling block was they didn't know where to start. It's like, okay, I want to get a new job, but, or a new career, but I don't know, should I go back to school, or should I just, put out resumes, or, should I go and get a certification? What should I do? I don't know where to start, and I'm so frustrated. And that goes with weight loss, and that goes with, starting new relationships. And that's why people stay in these mediocre jobs or mediocre relationships, because they don't know how to change things. So that is a key, and that's just a matter of educating yourself and finding a mentor who can guide you.
This is now the sort of the point in I don't like the term interview, but where I start looking at talking more about yourself, etc. So do you want to just, before we get into that, do you want to just reiterate the best points to go to for the Perfect Day formula for your book, etc.? Where would somebody find information on Turbulence Training?
So Turbulence Training, you can go to my YouTube channel at youtube.com/CBAthletics, watch some videos there, or you can go to homeworkoutrevolution.com and get my videos to follow along, or turbulencetraining.com. So homeworkoutrevolution.com is bodyweight only, and turbulencetraining.com is dumbbells and bodyweight.
Perfect. So this is a point where I like to know more about the guest. I like putting up some of my favourite articles that you've written, some of your video links, etc. And I'll put a link to everything we've discussed. So if we go through a few fast questions, just you could go into them as much as you like, or a couple of words. So, for instance, what would be your favourite exercise to do?
Oh, deadlift for sure.
Good man. I love deadlifts. Do you do? What kind of style do you lift with? Conventional?
Conventional. Just conventional. I've tried sumo, but my hips don't like it.
Yeah, I always find it difficult to get down to the bar. How tall are you?
5'9".
And do you find, how wide do you go for your stance? Is it quite sore in your hips to get into position, or?
No, I would say for my conventional, it is, I like the tip of get in a stance that you would use for your maximum vertical jump, and that's the stance that I use.
I mean, that was something I was amazed at, with just a tiny little change in the width I was standing. Made it feel so much more powerful. I was actually going slightly too wide for me. And it's something you don't even notice. You don't really pay much attention to your feet, but it makes such a difference. What would you say your favourite book is at the moment?
So my favorite book of 2016 was this book called The Body Keeps the Score. It was really fantastic research into why people struggle to change, and then also, how your mind and your gut influence your overall health, and then the therapies that allow people to overcome big obstacles in their life. Really, really powerful book. Every trainer should read it. Every person who helps people change in any way should read it. It probably has about 600 5-star reviews on Amazon.com. It's written by a psychologist. I mean, it helps people overcome PTSD. It is just so fantastic.
Sounds an amazing book. Yeah. Was there a song when you were younger that got you into music? Have you got a go-to song when you're feeling happy or sad, or that you want to admit to? If it's bad?
Jeez, I've never thought about that way. I mean, I like a lot of types of music. Right now, it's kind of funny. I listen to pretty much only Chopin piano for when I'm writing, and techno for when I'm training. I never listened to either of those when I was a kid. When I was in high school, it was like Pearl Jam and all that type of rock and roll, and, went to a whole bunch of those Lollapalooza tours and, did that stuff. So I like a lot of stuff that really gets you energized. I don't like to listen to too much melancholy stuff.
No, I mean, what kind of techno music do you listen to? Do you have a favourite band, or?
This one DJ who's a woman based out of the UK. Her name is Nicole Mudabir, and she has a voice like she's been drinking whiskey for the last 30 years. It's really funny. She's got a podcast that I listen to called In the Mood. But I just like, just good, beats and no words, and that just is good training music for me.
And is there a favourite film you have recently? It could be something that your guilty pleasure that you like to rewatch, or it could be a blockbuster you've seen recently. One that I watched recently. So I watched 5 movies over the holidays. I watched the latest James Bond movie, Spectre. I watched Star Wars: The Force Awakens. No, yeah, it was Star Wars: The Force Awakens. I watched Jason Bourne. I watched Suicide Squad, and then I watched Fury with Brad Pitt in it, a World War II movie. I like a lot of World War II movies, but this one was actually way too realistic that it might have turned me off World War II movies for a while. And the movie out of all of those 5, believe it or not, that I liked the most, I don't know if you've seen them, was Suicide Squad, because it was different. And the other ones, like Bond, was just like a rehash of everything. Jason Bourne was a rehash of all the Jason Bourne movies. And then I forget what the other movie I watched was. And it was just like, the Star Wars one. It was a rehash of the old Star Wars. It was like, these are not any different. And so even though Suicide Squad was kind of a bad movie in a way, it was different and original and unique. And I felt like it was a different experience. So that was cool. But I love James Bond movies, and so at one point I was trying to watch all of them in sequential order, and then I got up to Moonraker, and they don't have Moonraker on iTunes for some reason, or I couldn't find it, and so I stopped. So I want to go back and start them all, but there is no replacement for Sean Connery, a good Scotsman playing an English super agent, and he is absolutely the best by far. Daniel Craig is good though. I'm a big fan of Daniel Craig. I do agree with you about I was really disappointed, in the Bond and the Bourne ones. It just felt like it was a case of, you'll watch anything, if we throw it together. And I love movies. It was something I've always loved since I was a kid, pretending I was the main character and what I would do in that situation. When I originally started, I used to look at the films and what you could learn from it and how you could better your life by being more like them. Was there film characters that inspired you as a kid?
I can't think of any that really did. I mean, I started reading I started reading books when I was like, 7 or 8 years old, whether they were comic, cartoon books like Snoopy books, or, getting into, I remember reading The Incredible Journey, the story about the dog, the two dogs and the cat that go on the incredible journey, back when I was like 6 or 7 years old. And so, I lived in the country. We didn't have cable TV. We didn't have a whole lot to do, so I just read a lot. And so I was really more into books. And, not that anything stood out to me at all that inspired me in any way like that, but I just always love reading, and that's what led me to a lot of the writing, I think.
I mean, something I've always loved about your Twitter, for example, is, there's so many quotes. It's always something fresh every day. There's always some sort of motivation or thought of the day, something that makes you, kind of inspires you to take action. Is there a particular quote that stands out most to you? Something that you use in your personal life, maybe?
Yeah, so the one, I kind of stole one from Winston Churchill, which was never ever give up, and then I changed it a little bit because I realized that there are some things you should give up on. You should give up on drinking and partying as you get too old, but if you should also give up on chasing things that you might think are valuable, but only because of peer pressure. So like do I really need a fancy car? Well, maybe, I don't really care about fancy cars, so why am I chasing a fancy car? It's because other people are forcing their beliefs on me. So I changed the quote to never ever give up on what's important to you. And the key is to find out what is important to you. And we talked about how to figure that out earlier in the podcast today. So, that really wraps it all up there.
No, what would you like people, I know this is quite a morbid question, you've changed so many lives lately. What would you like people to say at your funeral?
I'd like them to realize that I made everyone around me better. And so, I have this picture of the Godfather movie poster with my face superimposed over the Godfather, and that's the quote that we have at the bottom is, the best thing that you can do for your life is make everyone around you better. And so if you go and do that, if you made all your friends richer, if you made all your friends and family healthier, your life would be better because of that. And so that's what I want to do every day. And that is what, the legacy that I want to leave is simply that I helped make people's lives better. And, therefore I'll get, it's classic Zig Ziglar quote, you'll get everything in life that you want if you go and focus on helping other people get everything that they want. So that's the real bottom line to me.
Yeah, I love that quote. It's like basically help others and that helps you.
Absolutely.
Is there a guilty pleasure of yours that you can talk about? Is there a favourite food that you like to glutton on, or is there? I do like to have I don't drink that often, but when I do, I like to have a Black Russian, which is I use a specific type of vodka, Chopin vodka, which is made from potatoes, and then Kahlua. So it's just a very simple drink, but it's very sweet. And so, if I go out and it's celebration time, and usually I only drink around the holidays, the Christmas time, and, go out with some friends, I'll have, one or two of those. But it's not like when I was, 25 or 30 and drinking lots of pints of beer per night. So that's pretty much it. I also like reading travel blogs. Mile bloggers who, hack their way to getting first class tickets around the world. So that's part of like the James Bond fantasy thing for me. I love my favorite parts of the James Bond movies are when they're, in Hong Kong, like in, was it Casino? No, it wasn't Casino Royale. It was the one after Quantum of Solace where he's in the skyscrapers in Hong Kong fighting the guy. What the heck was that movie called? It wasn't Spectre. It was. I'm a major James Bond fan. That's going to annoy me now.
It's the one where Judi Dench gets killed at the end. It's not Quantum of Solace. What the heck was it? It's the one that's not Quantum of Solace, Casino Royale, or Spectre.
So when he goes when he goes up to Scotland.
Yeah, at the end. But my favorite part of James Bond movies are when he flies into this city for 10 scenes, and then he flies off to this city for 10 scenes. Because I love travel, and so every day I read this one travel blogger who hacks his way around the world. And he's always off on, some crazy trip and, sitting in first class. And he's doing a review of Emirates Air first class. And so that's like my guilty pleasure every day to read that a bit.
And it was Skyfall. I've never remembered.
Skyfall, that's it. Yeah,
That was winding me up. I was like,
I know. It's like, I wouldn't remember that for 3 days, but yeah, that's exactly it.
I mean, that's something I love about yourself, and and I also love about Tim Ferriss, for example, is that way of hacking life. It's making systems, making things procedures, making routines of things. It's what's the point of just doing it once when you can do it consistently? Like the perfect day formula, for instance. What 3 things would you say you do in a day or a week that contribute to your overall success?
Well, the first thing is the writing that I do first thing in the morning. That's the most important thing. And so if I get my hour of writing in where I can get 1,500 words done, that's an essay, that's a book chapter, that's huge for me. And so that's really, really important. And then also it's connecting with other people. So, I'm not the greatest writer in the world. I'm not the best salesperson in the world, but I have one of the biggest networks of all the people that I know. So I know lots of people, so I can always go to them for help. But I'm also adding value to them. And then, doing these podcasts, I've done 105 of these in the last year. I've become much better at it. And I've developed a really good speech from it. So doing these 3 things has allowed me to sell over 12,000 copies of Perfect Day Formula in the last year with, no outside help, and to build a really good business around my life's work.
And you deserve everything from it.
Thank you, sir.
So this is a weird one. I love some of the answers I get. If you could pick 5 people, they can be alive, dead, fictional, whatever you like, that you could have a dinner party with, who would you go for?
Well, first I would have my father, who's passed on, so I'd always have him. Second, I would have James Bond. Third, I would have Batman. I'm not sure if I'd have him as Batman or Bruce Wayne, though. Anyways, I'd have those 3 guys. Maybe Marilyn Monroe, because I'm just making stuff up now. And then Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, I would have him.
That's an interesting mix, yeah.
It is, yeah. What are some of the craziest answers that you've heard, or some of your favorite?
I've had things like Genghis Khan. Somebody suggested a porn star. Oh, there's been some weird ones. You could tell. Some people get shocked at when you ask them that, they have no idea. And then I love when they go into their favourite film characters, their book characters. Like for me, I used to love like the Harry Potter books. So for me, it'd be like somebody like from Harry Potter, James Bond, James Bourne. There's so many. It's quite one of those questions that just really kind of shows the insight of a person. So you write a lot, and you were saying that you write a lot nearly every day. Do you have a favourite article that you've read recently? I mean, it doesn't have to be one of your own. Is there something that you read for inspiration, or your go-to article just to kind of guide you?
The stuff that I love reading is from my mentor, Mark Ford, who I bought Early to Rise from. And it's on living rich. It's on how to live like a billionaire, but without having a billionaire's money. And it's just like, here's the finest things in life that, they're not free in most cases, but they don't cost a lot of money. And most people can have, a lot of this stuff. So I love reading his Living Rich series.
Yeah, because I noticed a few of his articles on the site. So do you have a lot of contributors to your Early to Rise? I mean, is there some of the articles on them that you would like to highlight, or is there maybe 3 articles that you definitely recommend somebody should check out just now?
Well, they should definitely check out my article on my 12 rules for living. That's our most popular article. They can check out my article on what I learned from Stephen King books. I really like that one. Got a lot of feedback on that. And then, check out articles from Mark Ford, and then also a very thoughtful guy named Alex Green, who has written some of our most popular articles on living well, not necessarily about making money, but about treating people right, and about valuing other people. So those are the best ones to check out.
And you mentioned there about you've done a lot of podcasts and interviews, etc. Have you learned much is it just about the interview process, or what is the 3 tips you've learned from conducting and taking part in interviews?
I think that the person needs to do the research. So if they don't know anything about me, it shows up. They need to be, really focused on the interview. They need to be an advocate for the audience. Sometimes I'll go on a podcast and it'll just be like, hey, we're going to answer these 7 questions in the next 11 minutes. And then I got to go and record another one because all I care about is, recording more podcasts. So it's really about research, good conversation like what we're having today, good questions, and then being an advocate for the audience.
I mean, that's... have you ever heard... I'm trying to remember the exact phrase, but it was the audience of one.
Yeah, I get it.
I'm trying to remember who I stole it from, but it was basically, if I'm interested in it, that I know that if I Google a problem, for instance, there's 10,000 other people who have Googled the same problem. And I knew I couldn't be the only person who didn't like the pub, who didn't like just sitting with mates on a Saturday night, that wanted more in my life. And when I started finding yourself, John Romanello, Tim Ferriss, these people who were just grabbing life by the balls and going for it, it's something that really inspired me. And, the fact I've got the honour to speak to you guys, it just blows my mind. I mean, is there something...
Well, you're doing good things and you're earning it. Just like you said, I'm earning it with my stuff, and so you are as well. And you're out there and you're doing good things, and that's what matters. And so I remember Tim Ferriss said he struggled to write the 4-Hour Work Week at first until he decided to write the book as a letter to one person. And then that's when he was able to finally get it done and really get that message out properly.
And it's quite an amazing book as well. It's very formulaic, and it's very kind of, here's what to do, here's how to do it, here's what you're going to get from it, then do this. Let's see. I mean, we're coming up to an hour. Are you okay for time for a few more?
No, I got to go.
No worries. Well, I'll put in some social media links and stuff like that. Anything that you want to mention just now, or...?
I just want everybody to go and get their copy of the Perfect Day Formula at freeperfectdaybook.com. It's going to change your life. It's really, really valuable. It's going to give you that structure and true freedom that you desire.
Perfect. Well, Craig, I really want to thank you for taking the time out. It's been an honour to speak to you. I can't thank you enough for all the inspiration and help you've given me over the years. And I really am grateful for, I really appreciate this. And I'll send you a link when it's ready. And hope you have a brilliant day and nothing but the best for the future.
Thank you so much, man. You're just getting started, so keep me up to date on your progress, okay? And I'll see you on social media. I'll see you retweeting my stuff on Twitter, and we'll talk there.
Thank you, Craig. Really appreciate it. All the best. Have a great day.
Yep, bye-bye.
That's it for another week. Thanks for listening. Absorb it, practice it, use it. Until next time, keep trying to hit that next level in your life.